Point du Hoc was absolutely breathtaking. Welcome back to Sharing the Middle. I am the motivational pinup sharing some travels today back at Normandy for part 2. We're at Point du Hoc and Omaha Beach and the American Cemetery. It's incredible. Check it out. Of the sites that we visited, I really didn't know a whole lot about Point du Hoc. It's really incredible, and if you Google this location and you take a look at aerial footage, like a bird's eye view of this location, in actual pictures, you can just see how many holes there are. I mean, you can see these circles. It's not rolling hills, because when you stand here, you're like, oh, the terrain looks rough and rugged, but it actually hasn't always been like that. And really, when you get that above ground view looking down on it, you can see that it's not rolling hills. You can really see the circles from the munitions that were dropped. It's also just a breathtakingly beautiful location. This is inside one of the German bunkers. I don't know how many you can enter at this location. I would venture to say probably not many, based on just the damage on the terrain. So it was very interesting coming down here and thinking about how they had electricity and running water and beds and she was pointing out where you could see where something actually was hanging. I don't remember what it was, and I'm sorry, but I also don't want to share everything that was shared from that tour out of respect for the company and the effort that they take to give you all those details. So my aim in these videos is to share with you the impact these trips had on me as a traveler, not to share all the information that was shared from them. So really interesting to see where one of the guns stood. I believe we actually see one later in the video, because I think there's one here, but I can't remember if it's a replica or if it's preserved. But it just, I mean, look at this. And it's funny because that may not seem that big, but then you pan up and you see the people in perspective to it, and it's just like, woo, woo, that's some damage. And looking at these views, please keep in mind that the troops actually scaled these cliffs with a little mini ladder while engaging in gunfire. And I mean, just look at how steep the cliff sides are. It's just so incredibly awe-inspiring. I also couldn't help but just fall in love with how you could see the rain coming towards you. I just look at that. That is incredible. I think that's gorgeous. That is absolutely gorgeous. This whole area is just absolutely breathtaking and beautiful. The water was gorgeous. The cliffs were gorgeous. An absolutely wonderful place to visit. If you didn't see in the previous video to this, definitely check out the card above. But one of the points that I made is how whenever we were coming into these locations, our tour director, Aurelia, was sharing testimonies, interviews from people who fought in these areas, in these regions. So it was really a beautiful way to connect the tourist with the location that you were visiting. It was really remarkable, and just I appreciated it so much, that personal connection. Hard to see, but there was a lookout up there looking out over Omaha Beach here, and I think this is one of those sites that, of all the beaches, I think that most people have some kind of an understanding of Omaha Beach before they understand a lot of others. You know, in full disclosure, one of the things that I've done in the past when traveling somewhere is I've taken sand from different beaches to bring back to my mom because she likes to collect sand. This was one of the places that I really didn't want to do and was afraid to do that. Really quick note, this is the first American cemetery marker, and of course it relocated. And it's huge and vast and incredible. Anyhow, I felt like I was taking from a gravesite when I thought about how many people had died right there where I was standing. I mean, the loss was just astounding. But then we were standing there and we were talking, and I hadn't told anybody about this. And one of the things that Aurelia told us was how she's actually brought several people here who fought and who were here on these beaches. And, you know, several times bringing them during beautiful weather days where people are, you know, sunning on the beach, enjoying the water and everything that there is when it comes to summertime in warm weather when you're on a, you know, in a coast. And she apologized and said, I'm so sorry if this is, you know, I can't remember exactly what she said, but basically the extent of, if this is too much for you to be here, I understand, you know, with everything that's happened, I'd be happy to take you somewhere else if you wish. And they said, all of them were like, no, we would much rather see this, and, you know, we can remember the fallen people, the people that we've lost, the brothers that we've served with, but seeing the people on the beach having fun, smiling, that is a better memory to take away. And also to remember that that's what you were fighting for, was so that could happen. So that actually made me feel okay with bringing some sand. And I also just remembered that I'm not taking it to be disruptive. I took it in remembrance and appreciation for what that site is. Quick note, this reflecting pool is actually kept black to remember the significance in loss for the war. The American Cemetery does overlook Omaha Beach. Again, it's absolutely beautiful. Though a dreary start to our day, the weather just actually turned so gorgeous, and I couldn't at the time, I couldn't help but think about how it just kind of symbolized the whole experience, coming into a location where there was so much loss, coming into D-Day where there was going to be so much loss, and fighting through to see the beauty in the world on the other side. As corny as this all sounds, it's what I think and it's what I feel, and I think it's beautiful to reflect on things like this and to remember that there is beauty all around us. So I hope you guys have enjoyed these videos for Normandy. I really hope it's given you a wonderful idea of what you can see and experience in this particular region, and I definitely hope it empowers you to travel, because that, dolls, is the way you live a brilliant, bold, and beautifully empowered life.